Hello everyone, and welcome to the Ups Team Tour 2023 official recap stream. And we're here with myself, Takua, for the quarterfinals. That's where we're at now. Not long to go, we got 1 week of semis next, and then we'll be into the finals, which is quite something. I mean, actually, we've had, I think, maybe 1 or 2 of the semi-final games, but it's this week, of course, for that, and yeah, I mean, we've come a long way. Definitely has been quite a long tour. I hope that people have been enjoying that, at least. Watching the games, of course, most teams have obviously been knocked out by now. Only 4 remain. And we'll go over some of the games that happened this past week, well, not the past week, the week before, who decided the 4 teams that have made it through. And we'll just take a quick look at the dock itself for this, which is right here. So we go from quarters. We had the Cambridge Crawlers versus St Andrews, which Cambridge managed to come out on top, and they're going to be qualifying alongside the West Queen Mary for the semis. And of course this happened as well between Imperial and QM. Finally, the other Cambridge team, and UCL winning out on that one, and Bristol versus LSE of Bristol winning out there. So those are your semis teams. And of course we'll look over the games that we have for the rest of them soon. Just as per usual, starting between all the formats, going from Paldea all the way to LC. 5 games as per usual. And yeah, maybe we can talk a little bit more about playoffs as a whole, because for the last 2 years, that IPS has run, the only 2 seasons, and of course the 3rd one, but London has managed to take the crown both times. That is still very much possible, with UCL and QM still being in the running. So 50% of the teams still in the running for the title are, of course, London, which means, therefore, because they're also on other sides of the bracket, it is possible to have an all-London final. There is one part of me, as a part of #1London Gang, that wants to see it happen. there is also part of me that doesn't. Because, well, there are also some other things at stake. I think if Bristol does manage to win this week, make it to finals, then they win, take the cup. I do believe there's a little trial for the captain there. We'll go into that if they do make it after this week, but as of right now, nothing there. But of course, also, it would be nice to see maybe a London team battle it out with another team for the finals. That would always be quite good to have a little bit of a showdown, rather than a civil war maybe, but either way, I'm happy with whatever the outcome ends up being, as long as it's good, exciting games. Maybe not quite the same finals we had last year, if you were watching those, which were, well, if you know, you know. And BDSP draft is one of those things that I don't think draft as a whole, or we as IUPs, ever intend to do again. It's an experience full time. Now, UCL, of course, are also a past winner. They were the winner of the first series of the IUPS Summer Team Tour. And of course, they are still running, as we mentioned, on teams. But let's talk a bit more at UCL because we have our first replay of the day from UCL coming through. And that will be, of course, by Hocox. Hello, I do believe you're here. How you doing?
Hello.
Hi.
Hello, doing well.
Good, good. See everything on the replay?
Yep.
Great.
I think so.
I think this is all the right size for the stream. This is probably more accurate for the stream. Yeah, there we go. Alright. So, talk me through it then. We have your PAL Dedex game, and this was versus Cambridge Camera-Ups, of course, sub-in with Redo, where they had this whole electric terrain sort of shebang going on with 4 Quark Drive Mons and a Pink Urchin. What were your thoughts going in for prep, and of course on just team preview?
Yeah, so I didn't really expect a Quark Drive team to come into me. Honestly, like, the thing about the prep was that their team was pretty scary to prep into in the first because there were so many options that they could use. And, well, Quark Drive wasn't something I really thought would be able to come. But just in the case that I did, I brought Ice Spin in on 2 Mons, and that ended up being pretty relevant. So I didn't prep specifically for Quark Drive into this, but I went in and I saw the Pincherchin. I'm like, I kind of know what's going to happen. So yeah. I decided to play my game plan around that.
Yeah, always good to have removal tools. I mean, Ice Spinner, I imagine, being on both Tusk and Azumarill is still useful. Well, actually, maybe not into this team necessarily the most useful coverage, but still definitely helpful for them. We'll get started with the replay. I'll put it on slow for now, and then we can speed up as things go if needed.
Yeah. So I decided to lead straight Great Tusk to the Pincherchin. I didn't expect them to lead straight to the Pincherchin at the start, but I decided just in case they did, I can go in and click Ice Spinner.
Yeah.
So this is what ends up happening, and because of the swap into Iron Leaves, the Ice Spinner is going through. Honestly, I just clicked Ice Spinner again because I was actually scarfed, but Riddle didn't know that at that time.
Yeah.
And I decided it would three shot Iron Leaves anyway, so I wanted to take the damage, but it ended up playing out very, very well for me. And so getting the swap into Azu on this point and getting Liquidation back because I count that Liquidation would pretty much one-shot anything on the team. So with this, I thought Electric Tornado was gone and, I would be in good position for the rest of the game. But then the Trailblaze here, can you pause here for a bit?
Yeah.
So the Trailblaze here made last turn.
Yeah, I'm just making sure we have the Trailblaze on that because when you go for it, it sometimes goes a bit too far. There we go.
Yeah, so I didn't expect Iron Leaves to have Trailblaze. I thought I planned around like a Sword Stance set or, a Quark. I mean, I guess I should have expected when I saw Quadra defense, they'll Quadra speed.
Yeah.
But when this happened, I realized that it pretty much outsped everything remaining on my team. Except for one Select Scarfer, and I took a lot of time thinking about this turn because I was scared because Iron Leaf basically counter everything.
Yeah.
So I basically had to swap out. It's just expecting, deciding whether they were going to go for the Psychic move or Glass move. But they ended up switching out. I think they didn't think that Iron Leaves would be able to kill anything, so that played out pretty well for me.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think they probably don't get the kill range on the Taunt here, and they're scared of getting knocked out for free. I I imagine is their thought process. Yeah, that's the threats for the Hurricane Resist, presumably. But I guess U-turn as well is also obviously something that does do a lot to Iron Leaves anyway.
Yeah. So in this point, I reveal my second Scarfer, and to get the Iron Threads down. It was a 50-50 chance to kill, and I think I would have pretty much won there if he killed, but he reveals that he gets electric terrain back up, and this again puts me in a very awkward spot. Because now again that Iron Threads now outspeeds my Tusk.
Yeah, the Moth comes in.
So, yeah. And I actually decide just to sack it here, but for some reason Sludge Wave didn't kill. I believe it was a roll in his favor, but this very surprising because, well, for my card, Sludge Wave is supposed to do. Oh, could we pause here for a bit?
Yeah.
So for my card, Sludge Wave is supposed to do about 150 or so. So I basically had to manipulate the cards as much as possible for Sludge Wave not to kill, and realized that Iron Moth was completely min speed. Min special attack. Yeah. And that surprised me a lot, but my game plan, since I brought AV Glimora into this to specifically counter Iron Moth, so once I saw that I got the crunch off and I got Iron Moth low, I swapped in straight to Glimora. At first, I was going to sack Zarut, but Zarut ended up coming in pretty clutch later on as well.
Yeah.
So then now Glimora eats a Psychic and you can play, but what I didn't expect for it to happen was that Power Gem only doing 22 and not killing, revealing that we're in fact both AV.
Right, yeah.
Which is a pretty funny sight to see, honestly. But
you still get a kill on this ultimately.
Yeah, but because of the chip that Zarut got in, it was giving pretty clutch.
Yeah.
Yep. So now here, I just sack Glimora as the Trailblaze comes off again, but I get Toxic Debris.
Yeah, potentially very valuable
Spectre comes in
as well.
Yeah. Surviving Psyblade, but I do get the kill back in return.
Presumably it's a Scarf Hooper. No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
Just decided to go for the Live instead, which it will with its death stat.
Yeah. It actually was Scarf Hooper, I believe. It's just that I was also Scarf Spectria.
Right.
So, so there's a root comes in clutch here when I get when I do get a U-turn off on Hoopa, outspeeding it. And come in Great Tusk, and this was final lead. Because the two options here is go straight to Torn or go to Great Tusk. Both would probably win, but Torn risk an 80% miss on Liquid.
Yeah.
So from here on, it's just spamming. Well, just going on to spam Headlong Rush.
There it is.
Yep. And that's game from there.
Yeah.
With just a simple Aqua Jet.
I mean, Hal, 2 turns of poison, you get the kill anyway. So even if they manage to somehow net a miracle kill, you still, of course, get the you get the win there from the T-Spike.
Yeah.
So yeah, overall very controlled. You had the I mean, the early turns were really impactful, being able to get rid of the Pink Urchin, basically position around to remove it completely without having done anything really. Like you took no damage off that entire experience. So
yeah, like later on I realized that if I didn't have many mons to Ice Spinner on because a lot of them are boosted speed.
Yeah.
So the fact that I managed to get Ice Spinner off very early, it did help me win the game very early.
Yeah, it really slowed down tempo of the game, which is important for this sort of gameplay. Especially when they have all these offensive threats, pretty much, which didn't really get to do what they were intended to do, at least. So yeah, well played overall, and of course, good luck for this week as a whole from UCL. See if you can make it to
Thank you very
again.
much.
Yeah, thank you for coming on board.
Hope to do so.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, and we'll see if we can get our next one. But there it is, Paldea decks. And again, Museo showing that even after all these years and obviously not having done so well last season, they're still capable very much of providing a roster that can make it quite deep into the tournament. But we are on to our next replay, I believe. We now have our player in for that as well, which is Dennis. Hello.
Hello.
Right, how you doing? Good?
Yeah, good, thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, wonderful. Alright, so we have your Nat Dex replay versus G Frostboss of the Cambridge Callers. Of course, you're coming from the Annihilapes, who, alas, unfortunately, have not made it to the semi so far, but I hope you enjoyed your time playing in this year's Team Tour so far. Well,
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed it. The thing about this game as well was the both Cambridge and NatDex players actually have a very similar team setup.
yeah.
So it was almost a rematch, except a different player operating the team. But
Yeah, of course, when you have the other Cambridge team playing in Xerneas already, so you have the experience there, which is nice to bring into this one. Alright then, so just off of match preview, of course you said that you had some experience playing into a similar team. What were your thoughts then? Was there a lot coming from the previous matchup?
yeah, there was I think two important points that probably managed to spin the result around, which was um being better at dealing with Alomomola and Galarian Slowking were probably the two important ones. That last time I struggled and I just couldn't get through them, which meant, I mean, if I can't kill those two mons, you can't win. So
Yep.
that was the main difference, and that was probably a lot of focus in the prep was being able to get through those.
Alright then, we'll get started with the replay and see how this all unfolds. Put on slow for now, and then if we need to speed up, we'll do so.
Yeah. If I'm being honest, in this lead, I probably shouldn't have switched. I could have just quite easily pressed knockoff and would have been fine, but I didn't go for it. Went for the safe one. The wall rain I picked up at 2 points, and it was a brilliant pickup specifically for being able to do this, and this works even better in snow as well.
Yeah,
But
of course.
fortunately, I identified that it was a banded Urshifu after that close combat, which is very useful.
Yeah, might as well
And
preserve
now there
the
is
wall ring.
Yeah, and there is number one of, I believe, 14 chili receptions you're going to see in this game. They loved it. But again, I also thought Treads was another one that, in the mocks, I was struggling with originally. I was expecting leftovers, and going for the stealth lot. The important thing I found was I needed to have good hazard control because my opponent was quite frequent in switching.
And presumably they didn't bring enough boots in terms of, there's no boots here on the Glow King.
Yeah, there was no boots on the Glow King. They had Black Sludge instead. They had boots on the bundle, but that was it. And I think Florges was by far the best mon in my team this whole game because it could deal with everything. I believe they didn't bring Iron Head on Iron Treads, which meant Florges was two-shot by nothing. And then it could just sort of sit in and test the waters. The only real risk was getting a Sludge Bomb from the Glow King and getting that poison, but I risked it on one Sludge Bomb and then decided I wasn't going to do that again.
Yeah, of course, if you do get poisoned there, you're basically just getting crippled almost, that residual damage just stacking up over time.
And this, you'll probably want to pause it here because this is this is probably one of the most significant parts of the game. Very late on, we had max attack and basically max HP Pangoro, and decided it's probably better to put it in special defense instead, in order to better deal with Galarian Slowking and also Dragapult. And that ended up working a treat, as it meant it lived Choice Spits, Draco Meteor, and you can just press knockoff, which will always kill.
And we'll see it right here, I assume. There's Draco.
Lives on 4%. And then knockoff, which is brilliant because it means I have spin control now, Fortress can rapid spin, unimpaired. It does mean though that they get a free rapid spin and I can't do much about it. So unfortunately, Pangoro has to go.
I think you take that trade though for getting rid of Pult.
Yeah,
Very important one to
Pangoro
go
for
with.
Dragapult. That was one of the ideas it could go for. And here, double Stealth Rock turn. And then I thought, they're going to Rapid Spin. I might as well at least reveal the Body Press on the Fortress, just to push him out. And then I can get my own Rapid Spin back in the turn after.
Reveal on that side.
And I think here, I do go for the Volt Switch, and I think this is a mistake for me. To be honest, I shouldn't have allowed the Urshifu in. It was for the healing, but it ended up not being worth it. As they managed to obviously fully heal the Urshifu, which is not great. So a bit of a blunder, but that's fine. And this is the point where I was pretty confident they would go for Poison Jab. I didn't know they had it at this point. But Florges was in range. I think it was 50% chance to kill. Yeah. And Fortress was the safest option, so...
I mean, thankfully, if they go for the CC there, I think you still have other options to be able to maneuver.
Yeah, you live... Fortress lives the CC, and then it's fine. And that one, I decided... I think they're going to U-turn, and Florges is in range, so it needs one more lefties heal, and then I'll be out of Poison Jab killing range. And then the other thing to deal with was Alomomola was absolutely needing to be dealt with. Ice Beam Freeze would have been nice, but you know, it's not going to happen. And this was the interesting part. It was a speed tie here, and it was going second could have been beneficial in terms of so I go first this turn, whereas they may have gone. They baton pass. However, if it'd gone the other way, I wouldn't have killed the Urshifu, but so it doesn't really matter all that much. But and at this point, I think that it's got to go. It's 50% health. I need to lock Urshifu into a move, and then Florges back in.
Yeah, of course, still needing to wear
I ban pass.
Yeah, that's speed draw.
Yeah, need to get through the core, absolutely. And Mr. Barry B. Benson, I thought the knockoff was important. I was pretty confident they wouldn't have Psychic. Future Sight is possible, as we'll see in the future. And I actually decided, though it didn't end up getting used, that I wouldn't bring Poison Jab this game. And instead I brought Toxic, specifically for if Alomomola was going to be the switch-in that they preferred. I'd rather Toxic it than press Poison Jab and do about 25%.
Yeah.
Didn't end up being useful. This time I finally decided, let's not let them go into Urshifu. And in this position, they're in a really difficult position because they won't have Protect. The Moonblast, I think, was definitely going to kill.
And
they'd maybe go to Glow King.
Is terrible.
Yeah, so that was important. I needed special defense to get through that, which was crucial. And then I thought, they've been in the habit of pressing Chilly Reception. I need Palafin at least in there initially, or I'm going to be in a bit of trouble. But I think at this point it is still quite an even game, and it's just getting a bit of agency of who gets the Mon in on the turn that they want, which they were getting a lot of by having Chilly Reception, because Slow King's so slow, which was also difficult to deal with.
But of course, Mega Beedrill does outspeed everything they currently have, which is really beneficial.
This is really important. This is what made it a lot easier, is just getting this in and getting Chip. And again, situations like this were ideal. They know I've got a kill. I can just throw the rocks in again.
Yeah.
I could Volt Switch if I wanted, but I felt the rocks were probably a bit more beneficial.
Yep. And there's that future sight.
They press. There's one future sight. They use it twice. I get the Volt Switch, exactly what I want. Get a U-turn, good damage. Go back to Fortress because it's best to live. Obviously resist future sight and would just generally do quite well here. It does force me into having to press body press, but that ends up being fine. Just in order to take the future sight, which I will forget later.
Can happen with future sight though. It's one of those moves.
Yeah, I've made a bit of a habit of doing that though.
Gotta count the turns.
Yeah, draft players knowing what the number 2.
Yeah, it's not an easy one. Reading of any sort of variety.
Yeah, reading what turn they pressed it. So again, I'm in the awkward position of I need to make sure that having Florges in against Glow King is not ideal, so I need to try and get a bit of agency and get Beedrill in on the same turn as the Glow King, which I believe I bat and pass this turn, which gets me some agency. Because this situation is ideal, because they don't want to get chunked and have to go with something else.
And there you go.
U-turn crit. It is that definitely, it helps. I think we would have played the dance out longer and it would have ended up the same position. But the crit is ideal. It basically just means you chop like 4 turns off it maybe, of all the switching. Go here again, successfully predicting poison jab because they had a kill on it again.
Yeah.
Which I think really helped me. I managed to get that right.
And in this
twice.
position, you could even Volt Switch if you wanted to. Yep.
Go for the Volt Switch. And this is ideal. If I have my best option into the Glow King is Drill Run anyway, but it covers off the potential switch here successfully. Now I'm pretty confident they're going to Chilly Reception, but it's good for me because whatever they're going to go to just won't do enough damage to Florges. Again, I believe it's bat and pass this turn.
Now we can go to the beach roll again.
Oh, I wished actually.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's when the second future sight comes out. So I Moonblast this turn. Eventually I'm like, they will have to leave.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess it is well played from them in terms of doing it, and I use bat and pass thinking, oh, this is an ideal, this is what I want to get Beedrill in.
However.
And I throw it away to make the game interesting, to get me on the stream for this week. Throw my mon away. So Palpin gets in, kind of loses the bundle, but agility is the one, and this was what was meant to deal with Alomomola, was Throat Spray Boom Burst. Live this freeze dry. It was always going to live that. It wasn't an issue. Gets the Boom Burst, and then all I need is enough damage on this thing.
Yeah.
And that turns out to be plenty. Which means Florges can just come in and deal with it completely.
Yep, I was
This Moonblast kills. No switch. They maybe, if they wanted any way out, they should have switched and just sacked the Urshifu and got the Regenerator healing, but it was just kind of over. And there it is. 2 out of 2 games of me sacking my fast poison type to future sight.
Well, that's how it goes sometimes, but a win is a win, as they say. And you got to show off the agility throat spray in the end. So I don't know. I think that's a W overall.
Yeah, well, it was a really good game anyway. Enjoyed playing.
Yeah, definitely a way to go out. Hope to see you guys again in the next season, of course. But it's a way away now, I think. But yeah, thank you for
I'm
coming
sure
on.
you will anyway. Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
All right. Bye.
Bye bye.
That has been the Natdeck segment, and we shall move on to Ivers, which is Crawdance versus Annihilates, but this time we're looking at the Crawdant perspective, but unfortunately the player cannot be here. So it will be me doing solo cast. Right, I do believe I watched a bit of this live, but I do not remember it well enough, because it was a bit back and forth, if I remember correctly. But yeah, overall, you have Oxsteel's Art Poison, which, of course, Art Poison can still get through that, but just obviously you don't have that stab option. Art Poison here can obviously deal possession as well, very important. On that one, the Sand Core did come as a T-Tar Driller. Very, very capable offensively of just pretty much tearing apart this entire team. Just by the looks of it, would have to be something like a Fizdef Yveltal to really be able to stand up to Excadrill, and even then, not necessarily very easy to do. So we'll see how it goes, but all you need to do is get their team weakened enough to be able to get these two to the point where you can basically clean up the rest of this. Possession can probably just be used as a mid-game breaker for that matter, because I don't really think it's doing much outside of that. So just bring in a point where maybe you can force something out, and then you can go into a drill T-Tar. We got Palkia here as an early game breaker. On the other side, we got Chien-Pao as a pretty decent win con. Of course, Zacian will outspeed you, but that's manageable. You have really good answers to it. Mega Sizzle, Mega Sizzle gets screwed over by Fire Fang, which presumably it has, but at least Art Poison will be able to switch into it fairly handedly. So you have your answers there, here and there for the Zacian. And then Valiant's, does Valiant things, depends on what set you've bought, whether that's going to be boosted to clean up endgame or just a general breaking set. But we'll get started with it. There's the Dialga versus Rotom Heat. Dialga is still one of those mons capable of getting rocks up, as it does the first turn. Wisp misses. Not sure how relevant that is, as it is Wisp after all versus Dialga, so maybe not necessarily most impactful, but it does get a little bit of chip over time, depending on item. Steel comes in and immediately starts Cosmic Powering, which can be a bit scary. Art Poison comes in to try and deal with it here. There's the taunt coming through. Yeah, I remember this now. It was Cosmic Power BP, which into enemy BP is certainly something. Storm Power does get revealed here, as it does have, but it's just not really doing enough damage as of right now, so Arc really needs to be dishing a bit more. Recover on the first one. You can see this is gradually winning, but the thing is you have a recover on this, so you have to win the, and I think it is, this Arc Poison is always slower. This Arc still has the speed, but you have the taunt. So you can stop recovering for a little bit, but it's not necessarily always effective. There's a Storm Power into the Chien-Pao. Here's the thing, I'm actually not sure about the switch out here from Cambridge, because I don't believe you're actually losing to a dying to a Sacred Sword at this point when you're at +2. Depends, obviously you're going to get weakened a lot, but you are still at +2, so I think there's definitely room for you to be able to get a recover off and a switch and then still be able to use the Arc Steel. Yeah, you keep it more healthy, and Rotom doesn't mind coming in here, but I can see a world where you eliminate teams off the bat. Fire Blast Misses wasn't going to do much to Rotom here anyway. Pain Split goes off, get that healing off, and you can go straight into the next one. Pretty much just finicking around a little bit for positioning, but right now Cambridge with the overall momentum. Palkia coming in to try and break something. I'm not sure how much it's going to do to Yveltal though, as it does reveal its own take 36%. It's probably Spidef and variation on the Yveltal here. Living Wing, going to heal up a bunch off of that. Yep, nice little percent. Probably just roost this off. Goes into T-Tar. There it is. Now you're going to get the sand up. That's that passive damage that you need to be racking up. You can probably opt to get the rocks up here, which I imagine they did. And that would make the most sense. Now it decides to EQ on the switch. Doesn't actually nail the Sizzle on that, but it's not going to do a huge amount. Got this Sizzle revealing CC. Of course, I would catch out with T-Tar after they decided to stay in, but I don't think you ever really want to stay in versus Sizzle at that point. Rotom going to heal up again, but this does let Art Poison in to get a recover off, whether that's something you value or not. We'll switch back into Palkia. This is really not going to do that much, so I'm not entirely sure why this was brought in versus, so presumably to get a T-Wave off. No, okay. It just goes for the power. Wants to trade damage for damage, prevent the recover from going off. Now Zacian comes in. At this range, I think Scyfangs might be able to net a kill. This was a fairly safe switch. There's the Scyfangs. Problem is it won't take the next one. It is revealed to be Lorb. There's the CC. Crit, I'm not sure if that mattered based on the damage earlier off of Sizzle. But there you are. So now you're in a bit of an awkward position, unless this is a Scarf Dialga, you can't really stay in versus it. Presumably a Scarf. Rotom hard switches out, straight into T-Tar here. Sandstream comes up. Pretty damn good into Yveltal, but it's getting chipped down a lot just for U-turn over time. So unless you net the Earthquake again inside the Stone Edge. Does a pretty good chance Dialga, but you know, not enough to be able to break for at this point. That is an extremely unfortunate Draco miss though. And it does net the fact that now you're down in sacks, unfortunately. Yeah. Otherwise T-Tar would be able to... T-Tar would just be gone at this point. I mean, you don't have this issue. Also limited sand for the Driller as well. I'll cover through a little bit, body press to kill T-Tar, not bad. Remember, Arc Steel is still pretty healthy though. Drill comes in here on the balloon. Pretty much at like not a huge amount of threat. You can go for the spin here if you so desire, and then go for the EQ afterwards, which is presumably what happens. Or you can go for a Rock Slide if you want to predict the Yveltal coming in. No EQ comes through. Now you're just looking to Iron Head. No flinches, foul play to kill Drill. Now in a bit of an awkward position, but you can still Cosmic Power on this. And just judging from earlier, you have the 2 Cosmic Powers up. This Arc Poisons on 32% and does not have as much PP. So I'm pretty sure even if you get taunted here, you just kind of win out on this just by clicking Store Power a bunch of times because you're faster. Gem Power would now need to be able to get a crit Sacred Sword, which it does not. Only gets to 48, will die's Body Press. But this Arc is now in enough range of Valiant being able to kill it. Which it does. This Valiant is now outspeeding the other 2 Mons. Zacian, however, at 68%, I'm not sure if he can kill with P-Jab. Yeah, there it is, not quite enough damage to be able to kill Zacian. Zacian just a little bit too bulky, got that Uber's level bulk to be able to handle things off. However, just a play rough here should be enough to kill the Yveltal to finish things off, and that'll be a 1-0. Maybe if Yveltal can live one more turn, might be a little bit different. Whether Rotom Heats can finish off just by clicking Volt Switch as last one. But yeah, maybe if I did like a little bit more percent might have also happened. But overall, pretty handy and good game from Ariel for the most part. Yeah. Alright, and that has been the Uber slots. So, next we'll have a doubles game, which was between LSC and the Bristol Boomers. Hello, Cameron, how are you doing?
Hello, good to see you. Hoping, if you remember the first week, everything just broke for me on Discord the first time I tried to.
Yes, I do. It's working well this time. Yeah, no, good to have you. Of course, Bristol now having made it through to semis. Good luck for good this week, of course. And of course, we have this match. So, what were your thoughts going into prep on this one, and then of course team preview?
Well, so to be honest, when I was prepping, things weren't going well. We did a few mock battles and they weren't going well at all. And the night before the match, I was just in bed thinking, and I came up with an idea. The idea and how it played out. It was something which I first thought was incredibly stupid and wasn't going to work. But then when I thought about it more and more, I then realised this could actually work. And I think I got quite lucky with the leads and just the way things went with Rock. I think there might have been a few rolls in there that mattered, but again, it depended on spreads and stuff. But yeah, it was just a full-on, you know what, I'm going to just send this and hope it works. And it worked out for the best.
Yeah, certainly did. Definitely, of course, being laid aside as the LSE captain. This was something to behold. But based on the lead matchup, it was basically loss off of lead on our side. So we'll go into this and see exactly how it unfolded for everyone that has or hasn't seen this game. Regidrago Whimsicott comes out, and the spicy part of this is the fact that neither of these ones can be fake outed.
Yeah. I saw two fake outers, and I was like, I'm going Terror Ghost.
Yeah.
On something.
So I revealed something in mocks actually, so I was mocking from your side into this team, which kind of adds a little bit. So I was bringing Mesprit consistently to mocks, well the 2 mocks that we did with Terror Ghost, but it was Mesprit rather than Regirogo, and the point of that was to be able to shut down Trick Room completely by using Imprison. You kind of had the other way of shutting down Trick Room by just killing the Cofagrigus on the spot with Regidrago. So it's a very similar concept. And interestingly, in our mocks, I was actually advantaged, so I was actually winning out in our mocks. Interestingly, which is kind of funny how I was winning versus the team that you were like losing against in mocks, presumably.
Yeah.
So
my originally what I was using to stop Trick Rooms in mocks wasn't because Trick Room was like a big issue when I was thinking about making the team. I was originally thinking of Encore, but then I realised Mental Herb, which is why I wasn't going to go for Taunt, also blocks Encore, so I was like, I need another way around this. And then I did some damage calcs and I realised Regidrago just killed, and there was no. Their safest leave was like Gardevoir, Tornadoes, but even then I could, play around it with the weird thing that I do later on in this match.
Yeah. And Helping Hand was necessary, by the way. The other way of doing it would have been Fake Tears rather than Helping Hand, but of course Helping Hand you get the boost onto both. But Helping Hand kills us. This was a full Spadef Cofagrigus for the record. So without the Helping Hand, it actually wouldn't have killed.
Yeah, that's what I was worried about. Because I was considering going for Tailwind that turn, but then I was like, it was down to whether if it was Spadef invested or defense invested, and I was just like, I'm not going to risk it, and I'm just going to go for the Helping Hand now. Yeah,
and you made the right play. And it worked out wonderfully. You get double knockout, and well, it's pretty much unwinnable from this position. Here they make the... Yeah, go on.
Reveals that I've got the Covert Cloak on Wimp there, the fake out, so that was... Yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
It was...
Yeah, so I think there was one way around this. We'll rewind this, because this is basically just... And this is a really nice tech as well. You prevent the Pixelate from going off, and this has the added benefit of making it so that God of War can't you do any damage into Regidrago?
Yeah, that was... I brought Wonder Seed, Worry Seed for 2 reasons. To get rid of Guts and to get rid of Pixelate. Mm-hmm. Because my main idea was to get rid of Guts on... as Luna, so it would just they'd be pretty much useless because it's burn, gonna half damage. I mean, Facade still does loads of damage, but I can manage that with Terror Ghost. And I got quite lucky with the Encore here, and them not running a psychic move and going for Thunderbolt, because I was like, yeah, I can go into Raichu and just guaranteed win.
Yeah. And there it is. Helping Hand, just click the buttons, nothing God of War can really do about it right here. So. There it is, second time. So, of course this wasn't necessarily visible throughout the game, but I was running Covert Whimsy in every single mock anyway, so it probably should have been expected, but I think they just went for the play out of desperation more so on turn 2. But I remember looking at this in post game, and I was saying like, I think the way around this, if you're in this position on the other side, is to go Zero Aura God of War. You know that this Regidrago has specs from the damage beforehand, if you calced it. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't, I don't know. But you know this is specs, correct? So God of War comes in here. Yeah. So, and then Zero Aura presumably threatens Fake Out onto Whimsicott, but in this turn you don't click the Fake Out. Instead, you click the Plasma Fists hard into Regidrago, and then you click whatever move on God of War, presumably Hyper Voice. And what this does is either, well, if Whimsicott clicks Tailwind, you get the kill onto the Zero Aura, but you don't get it onto God of War. And therefore God of War does enough damage to the point where Regidrago is now weakened from being able to click from Dragon Energy. If you click Worry Seed, same thing happens, but with Plasma Fists. So you end up basically in a 3 versus 6 situation, but the game is still winnable, right? That's the only way I could have seen out of this. But even then, it's very, very hard to play out, given everything you have in the back.
Yes, I probably would have. So I went for Tailwind either way. I was considering the Zeraora was going to actually attack the Regidrago, and that was in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
I was thinking, Regidrago's already kind of done what it has to do. It's got me some good momentum to lead with.
Exactly.
Stuck out 2 of their mons. It could maybe deal enough damage for me to sort of continue the momentum I've got with Dragon Energy, even if it takes like a Plasma Fist. I think it would do a lot, but I'm not sure if it would one shot. I think knockoff was one of the things I was worried about. There wasn't really anything I wanted to switch into there. Because at worst case, Regidrago kind of dies there, and I was like, there's nothing I can really switch into, so I just went with it.
Yeah.
And hope.
Yeah, but they obviously made the player the highest potential benefit with going for the fake out into presumably Bleak Windstorm. Because if you get the fake out off there, then you're basically netting, you're preventing the situation from developing any further, and you get the kill Limbs caught if both Bleak Winds hit. But of course, you have the covert, so. Yeah, no, I mean, this was just excellent prep all the way around. Being able to catch this on lead, get the helping hand to guarantee the kill onto this, knowing that they can't really threaten you at all. So, yeah, very good win.
Thank you.
And of course, good luck going into this week for semis, and we'll see how far the Bristol Boomers get. Of course, I do know there's a little dare with your captain, if I'm not mistaken, about if you win there is something that he has to do, but we'll leave that to see what happens after semis.
Yeah, well, hopefully next week goes just as well as this one, but
yeah.
I won't say I'm too confident, I'm a bit nervous, but yeah.
That's how it is, definitely. High pressure scenarios going into this. But yeah, no, it's been great to have you on, and hope you've been enjoying playing so far.
Yeah, I've been really loving it. Anyways, yeah, I'll be heading off to do some mocks in a bit then.
Alright then, well, see you around.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Alright, bye. Okay, and that was the double slot. We'll finish things off with LC. And for that one, we will have the Camerupts versus UCL. So going back to the same matchups we had on PAL their side, except reversed. And we have here Viv to share their perspective. Hello. Oh, or not. We had them here for a second. I think they just... connectivity issues, I presume. That's okay. I'm sure we'll get them back shortly. But yeah. Tempo Tenpine versus Viv. Hello, there we go. I think they're back now. Hello? Oh.
Hello?
Hello!
Hey.
Ah, wonderful. How are you doing? Good?
I'm alright. How about you?
Yeah, doing well. Can you see everything? All good?
I can't see the stream because I'm using Discord on my phone and it's not coming through my headphones for some reason, so.
Ah, yeah, I see.
Yeah. I'm just calling you on the phone now.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, see how things go. I mean, I can still give perspective and everything. We'll see how it goes when if you can't see the stream, but that's okay. Of course, this is versus UCL. What were your thoughts just prepping into this team?
Prepping into MUCL. Hold on, can you hear me alright?
Yeah, I can hear you. You're perfectly clear. Yeah.
Yeah, prepping versus MUCL. The biggest threat I think was like Timber.
Mm-hmm.
And what else did they have? Ponyta Galar was like quite a menace. But I think the biggest threat that we were worried about was Timber. But like they also had like good mons. Hold on, let me see if I can look at the stream.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean the roster they brought was Ponyta G, Dwebble, Skidoo, Timber, Sandshrew, Tentacle.
Right, yeah. So like the big three would have been Ponyta, Timber, and Dwebble, right?
Mhm,
Those
yeah.
are the big guys that do a lot of damage. I think also on the roster was Archon, and we were pretty
Yes.
scared of that. Because, like, Berry Juice or Choice Scarf, those do, like, because, like, my team, it doesn't have that much survivability, right? If you click the right move into it.
Yeah.
But I guess that's just LC, right? But, like, that's why I was pretty scared, I guess, like, of all of those threats.
Yeah, no, it's a scary team at face value, and yeah, exactly that with LC. Very sort of fast, frail format, one turn can clip a game, you have the speed tie 50-50s, which did happen in this game as well, so...
Yeah.
We'll get into that, we'll start on slow. It wasn't, well, interestingly, it wasn't a very long game in total, but it was quite a long game for the spectators. Do believe it took quite a while. Definitely something that we flagged up as for like timer rulings, but that's a separate thing. Here is Skidoo into Cottony. You get the lead onto this. Not going to do much damage at all, of course, for returning into Cottony.
Yeah, and something I want to highlight on turn 1.
Yeah.
Is that that already kind of it revealed that I'm not life orb turn 1, and I think that's potentially a misplay because Skidoo's always staying in there.
Yeah.
And so like, why do I flip turn? It's not doing any damage, and it reveals I'm not the normal item on Carvana. And like, you can do some deductive reasoning, like what else is reasonable to put on Carvana other than life orb? Like, yeah. So, I mean, I feel like hard switching to Cottony was probably a better play.
Yeah, of course the other thing is if the Skidoo was scarfed, and I mean you were scarfed in the end, we know we find this out later on, but if the Skidoo was scarfed yourself and you know, you make the flip turn play and you're faster, then they immediately have that information as well, so definitely a few things there.
But on the other hand, I wasn't too worried about revealing Scarf on Carvana because like there's not really a lot that my opponent can do with that information. It's not exactly like Magnemite where you just like hard switch into a ground type.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
And then we'll see how this with the Iron Tail, you get the knockoffs, now it's weakened a lot, doesn't have that defense capability. If you like go into the Magnemite on the Bullet Seed, won't do too much.
Yeah.
And then you reveal Steel Beam, which I believe was the only way to kill this Skidoo in one from this percent.
Yeah, it was. And I'm looking at like my roster. It's quite grass weak overall, I'd say.
Yeah.
That's one of its weaknesses. So I mean, that's really one of the only ways I could have beat Skidoo with the 6 that I brought even. But like in prep, we weren't that worried about it because I mean, it's our thinking was like if Skidoo comes, then one of the other 6 doesn't come, and that's good for us, you know. Like I would much rather face Skidoo than. I think Sandshrew came over something else as well, right? Do you want to?
Yeah, they had one. They had Sandshrew, Archon, and to be quite frank, I don't remember the rest of that roster.
Yeah, I can double check right now because
I mean, it's possible to bring.
I think that was pretty big.
Yeah, this is Icon Division. Da 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 da. Team drafts. Elekid would have been the other one, I imagine.
Oh my gosh, Elekid didn't come. That's actually really big. Like, I think that because I mean, Elekid. I like lost to Elekid and also Timber, both of those teams in regular season, and it was just like, what can I do, you know? So I was really happy to not see that on the field.
Yeah, of course, Elekid being one of those monsters that can outspeed Abra as well, and obviously Carvana needs that +1 speed boost to be able to get it.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why we
Mhm.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why we chose Garf on Carvana, because like that way I can like be in on Ellie Kid and be like, okay, I'm clicking a move.
Mhm.
That said, like Ellie Kid, the 1 week that, and also I want to say like Choice Scarf, we did Choice Scarf, like even though we could just click Protect and get that +1 speed boost anyways, because Timber, like basically always Oko's Carvana with Mach Punch.
Yeah.
Like it's like not even close. So like that's why we can't just click Protect, because then like Carvana's just dead and Timber just clicks Mach Punch on anything it wants. Or it can click something else if it wants to, because I mean Carvana can't really Oko it if it's Eviolite.
Yeah, of course, something you can do, of course, is click Aquajet into the Timber if you're faster, but it needs to be quite weakened to be able to get into that range. So that's
Yeah,
always
for
something.
sure.
I did pause at turn 8 because I do believe there was a speed tie here, and you win that one.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
It was in prep. We were like, does Tentacle run 17 speed, max speed here?
Yeah.
Like, because Tentacle is one of those Pokemon that really wants EVs everywhere. You know, especially if it's Eviolite, which it's not here. It's quite an offensive Tentacle, which actually would make putting max speed like a reasonable choice, I guess. Yeah.
Yep. Eventually, you get this choice scuff knocked off on Timber as well. Very nice reveal. It's not even either. So you can definitely get some damage onto this. Poison Jab gonna do nothing into Coughing.
Yeah, Coughing was my switch into Timber.
Yeah, because obviously, even if it was Guts, you have the neutralizing gas, which means that the burn will not help it at all.
Yeah, that's a nice double into Timber onto whatever, because nothing really wants to be into Timber except for Coughing there. And I feel like that turn I should have switched back to Coughing, because it can just take anything from Timber. I shouldn't have just let them get Drillbur for nothing.
Yeah. And this was a roll, but it was very in your favor, so.
Yeah.
Double comes in, goes for P-Jab.
Yeah, that's a pretty obvious switch to Cockney there, but like if I don't and they go for Shell Smash, then I'm just dead. So.
Yeah. Bigger for Shell Smash this turn, and now they find out
Yeah.
that Carvana's Scarf. They didn't, of course, know immediately for the first time, and then they get the play on this.
I think they knew it was Scarf, like before that turn. I actually that turn I didn't realize that Scarf 2H KO'd like double there. That's actually like, unless I get quite a bad roll, that's like pretty much guaranteed. It's either that or like it's quite favorable.
Yeah.
But yeah, that flip turn, I'm like, I regret that flip turn a lot, because like I don't have to do it. It's quite greedy, I think.
I think if you just wait, were you locked into anything? You weren't locked into anything there, were you? Because you were just
I wasn't. No.
So I think Crunch here guaranteed endgame, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think it did. But what I was worried about, I tunnel visioned on them going Timber, right? And, yeah. But what actually happens is I crunch into Timber and I just hard switch to Coughing, and there's not a lot that they can do.
Yeah.
What they can do is like hard switch to Timber, hard switch back to Ponyta when I switch out to Coughing, and then what? Like, yeah. But yeah, now I actually, since Ponyta is dead, because Abra can't like kill Ponyta from full.
Yeah.
It does like almost half, I think. I don't even think it did half. It probably did have actually, but yeah.
But yeah, there it is. Scarf Carolina coming in really big here actually overall.
Yeah, and not even for the reason that we thought it would.
No.
We thought it'd like really help against Ellie Kid and Archon, because we wanted to bring Carvana. Actually, losing Life Orb on Carvana was big for only Archon, pretty much. Like everything else was still a 2H KO, or like not a KO. But Aquajet from Carvana into Archon, it went from a guaranteed OKO to not an OKO, I think. So that was like the biggest thing that we lost, and they didn't bring Archon, so it all worked out.
Yeah, there it is, of course. Unfortunately, you didn't actually get the week win as a team, but this was a great
Yeah.
win, of course, from you, and I do hope that you did enjoy playing in this year's Team Tour.
Oh, it was really fun. I felt like I improved a lot by
Yeah.
battling my team building, and it was really rewarding, I think.
Yeah, I mean, for a lot of people, I don't know about you, of course, but for a lot of people, it was their first time even playing draft as a format.
Yeah, it was mine.
Yeah.
For my first time playing an actual season rather than like a one-day draft league.
Sure.
Friends. Yeah.
Oh yeah, mate.
And
It's good to hear that you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I love LC. It's really fun.
Yeah, I know Smoke and Draft, of course, had their LC stuff open up recently as well. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, that's obviously, draft's been finished for now, I think. But yeah, of course.
Uh-huh.
Lots to look forward to. I mean, of course, with being in this server, you'll have access to the promotion stuff, and then people will drop stuff in promotional future leagues, I'm certain. So do not worry about that. But yeah, thank you for coming on. Hope you enjoyed being on the stream, and hopefully we'll see you next year.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I'll probably see you guys next year. Yeah.
All right then.
Yeah. See you.
All right, bye. And that has been Elsie. Oh, that's not the right scene. Starting soon. No, we've already started. Right, and we're almost finishing now, in fact. So, those have been our quarterfinals games. Definitely a good selection. And to reiterate, we have 4 teams coming in. So for the semis, just Queen Mary versus Cambridge Crawdons, MUCL versus the Bristol Bloomers. And after all those are terminated, we'll have our 2 finalists. And hopefully we'll be able to have a proper live final stream with all the games as we had last year, where we had as many games as were possible to be scheduled on the same day around the same time, so we could run one stream and then have everyone basically just live view the games. Hopefully we'll be able to do that again. I think we had 3 games locked in last time for the finals. 2 already played out, but that was a wonderful stream, and I think people enjoyed that a lot. So aiming to do the same thing here. Of course, we don't know who this finalist will be yet until the end of this week, but looking forward to seeing the rest of their games, and of course, tournament's coming to a close. But hope you guys have been enjoying the streams, this one and the next 2 to come. There'll be 2 more, 1 for semis and 1 for finals, and that'll be it for this year's team tour. But yeah, that's all from me. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you next time.